Our 330 people are Michael Burmeister right here. Michael is in his 5th year. He's in social psychology. And our last person is Carson Sandy. This is Carson right here. Carson is in her 3rd year, and she is in the personality area of psychology. Finally, our last person is back here is Jason Farrell. Jason is a 1st-year student in social psychology, and Jason's role is going to be somewhat different than the others. Whereas the others are going to be official teaching assistants for the class, Jason is our techno-czar. He's the guy who's going to be helping to put all of the work that we're putting in on our digital teaching this year together.
That's technology, not techno music. I think they have techno music too.
Okay. Anything else about? Oh yeah. In addition to these, we also are going to have a support staff that's really mind-boggling. As we'll say in more detail in a few minutes, this class is a fairly significant departure from any class we've ever taught.
Well, anyone has ever.
Exactly. Anyone on Earth has ever taught. Starting Tuesday, you will be required to bring a digital device, a laptop, iPad, or some other notepad or something like that, to class every time. And there will be a benchmark assessment or a quiz that you will take at the beginning of every class for the rest of the semester. All reading will be online. There will be no textbook. There will be times when we have group discussions in class, all online, and you're going to be assigned to groups randomly in the class itself. And we'll talk about this more in a few minutes, but to do all of this has required a tremendous amount of support from the provost's office, the dean's office, and others. We've had full-time programmers for the last several months. We've had technical people coming in and out of, and you'll see technical people hovering around here next time. But this is going to be a really interesting class, and these technical people are also part of the support group for this course. So enough about us. What about you all? We're interested in who you are, and in a class this big, obviously we're not going to ask everybody to stand up and introduce themselves. Let's start off with where you're from. Okay, there are a lot of places in Texas people are from. Of course, some places are a lot better than others. Well, let's start off with one of the more interesting places. How many here are from Midland, Texas? Yes! Yes! All right, so we have 2 incredibly cool people. 3, really. How many people are from Houston? Okay. How about Dallas? Let's see a little more pride. Fort Worth?
Yeah!
It's so sad.
San
Antonio. Okay.
Austin, Texas.
Austin. Wake up. Okay.
Valley.
Where?
Valley.
The Valley. Okay. El Paso. Let's go with pride here. Pride out loud. How many of you are from outside of the United States? How many of you are from within the United States but outside of Texas? Okay. How many of you are from towns of 1 million people or more? Okay. How many of you are from towns that are between 500,000 and 1 million people? How many of you are from towns that are from 100,000 to 500,000? How many of you are from towns between 20,000 and 100,000? How many of you are from towns 500 people or less? How many of you?
That's more than this class.
That's right. How many of you went to a high school where the entire high school had 500 people or fewer? Yeah! Okay, again, more people in this class than and we're in your high school. In other words, we have a community here. And we have people here, some of you can sew, some can cook, some are really good at fixing things. We've got a community that, you know, if all of a sudden we're locked in here for 6 months, we could probably do just fine.
What about you? So who is this their first ever semester at college? Heather. Woo! Well, welcome, English, and welcome with you today. That's great. We're very excited to have you here.
Now, one thing we like to do here at the beginning is to give you an option to meet each other. So what we're going to do in just a second, and don't move just yet. We're going to have you break into groups of 3 or 4 people, and you are going, and we don't want you to talk to someone that you know. And we want you to learn each other's names, get to know each other briefly. We're going to give you 2 minutes to get to know one another. And then, this is the exciting part. You all are going to work on a multiple choice or a true-false test together. There's going to be a series of questions that you, as a group, have to answer. One of you will be described. We'll write down true or false for the 10 questions. Now, there's something you're probably feeling the excitement here right now. The group that does the best on this wins an incredible prize. Would you like to tell the prize?
All right. Well, the stakes are really high. What you win, wait for it, is coffee with us. We don't want to get too cutthroat now. Despite the fact that these stakes are so high, this is meant to be a test of your general understanding of psychology, not your ability to look stuff up on Google. All right? So don't use it's just a discussion. It's what you know in your head right now. And the topics are all about conceptions about psychology, right? Many people think, well, psychology is just the study of the obvious. It's not so obvious. It's obvious after you know the answer, but not obvious before. So we're going to come up with a number of statements about thoughts about psychology, and there's going to be 10 questions. You're not going to have very long to do. You're going to have to move quite quickly because we're suddenly going to go on. We're going to show you 5, and we're going to show you 5 more. So now go ahead, get in groups, introduce yourselves, then we'll put up the questions in one button and we'll write down the answers. Alright, remember the stakes are high here. Right, so we're going to rely on your honesty to see how many you got right. Be honest, one person for each group right from now. Alright. Opposites attract. People usually fall in love with something different from themselves. Who thinks that is false? You guys with the hands in the air have 1 point. Yes, you do. Alright. When you burn your hands and your information travels through your brain at nearly the speed of light. Who thinks that's true? I'm sorry to tell you guys that's not true. Your impulses travel at 100 meters per second. Light travels at 186,000 miles per second. Alright. The majority of people would be willing to administer a near-fatal electric shock to another person if an experimenter told them to do so. Jenny, what do you think?
I don't know. Let me get your... How many think the answer is true? You are correct!
People with one eye can still see in 3 dimensions. Who thinks that is false? Yeah. Right, well, what I want you with your hand in the air, what I want you is to take that hand and put it over one of your eyes. Can you still tell that something is further away now? You should be able to do that. Okay, people can still see in 3 dimensions, so that is true. Absolutely true. It's not an illusion when the moon appears larger on the horizon than it does overhead. Who thinks that's an optical illusion? Raise your hand. It is true. You know that the moon doesn't actually get larger when it's closer to the horizon, right? Right. Very famous solution for the moon. All right. Hypnosis typically helps people accurately recall a crime scene. Who thinks that is false? Break down, you think that's false. Very good. You guys, point to you. It's false. It's true that hypnosis does get you to recall more details. Unfortunately, some of those details just have nothing to do with reality. All right. In human beings, the part of the brain corresponding to the mouth is big as the air corresponding to the entire leg.
I would say, let me check the answer sheet here. How many think is true? You get a point. Split personality is one of the most severe forms of schizophrenia. Who said true on that? We experience stress when bad things happen, but not when good things happen. Let's talk. How many think it's false? Very good. It's false. It is false. Christmas, very, very stressful. As you know, Thanksgiving is stressful. All right. If you want a person to continue performing some action, what you should do is reward the action on a consistent basis. Well, that's what an obvious one, that is. Who thinks that is true? No, it's false. Okay, so, just to be sure, check your answers over again. 1 false, 2 false, 3 true, 4 true, 5 true, 6 false, 7 true, 8 false, 9 false, 10 false. Okay, your group, how many of you got none right? How many got 1 right? 2 right? 3 right? 4 right? 5 right? Woo! 6 right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is big proud of that. 7 right? 8 right? Oh man, this is scary. 9 right? 10 right? Did you all truly get 10 right? No, they didn't. You all got 10 right? All right. All right. You all. Then come up afterwards and we'll set up a time for a magnificent prize. And you don't have to drink at all. Now we're going to be having these coffee quizzes over the course of the semester as a way to get the blood cooking. And also give us an opportunity to meet you guys. Yeah, so there's a number of mechanisms. We also encourage you to come to office hours, come by, say hello. You can always come up. You can of course also go to the TAs, but we're hoping to have many opportunities over the course of the semester to get to know you better. It's very hard to have that kind of contact in the class at this time. Also, one thing is really important. It's kind of weird because we're not even remotely done. I don't know why you're going to put stuff away. We're going to be talking and talking and talking for hours.